All right. Gentlemen, everybody get a chance to read the minutes from last meeting? Any discussions? Motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
Got a motion and a second. Approve the minutes. All those in favor? All right, minutes are approved. All right. Let's get on to our first order of business. ZV 24-6, 1701 Bruce Drive, St. Simons Island variance. Consider request for a variance to Glenn County zoning ordinance 701.5 related to setback requirements. Property is zone one family residential R6 and located at 1701 Bruce Drive, St. Simons Island, parcel 04-03265. Carl Mushin, agent for Merle Jones owners. Hear from staff, please.
Good morning, Christopher Carey, Glenn County Planning and Zoning. Before you today, we have a variance for 1701 Bruce Drive for a addition on the side yard. Here is the site. It is in the East Beach subdivision at the corner of 3rd and Bruce Drive. The specific request is to reduce the setback by 3 feet. Currently, it is on the side yard, which is also the corner yard, so the required setback is 10 feet. The proposal for the addition is shown to be 7 feet away from 3rd. Here's your survey. As you see on the survey, there is an existing carport that is proposed to be, that is in their plans to be removed from the site. And here's an example of the new addition. Some elevations. There are 4 neighbors in support, none in opposition. And here's the site. So here's the approximate property line in relation to where the site is located. It is just over the concrete on that pad. And again, the specific request to reduce down to 7 feet. And your possible motions. Staff does not recommend approval due to a self-imposed hardship, and that is all from staff. The property owner is available as well.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. I actually have several questions. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When submitting surveys, I would really like to see surveys that are accurate. This survey is 4 years old and it is obviously inaccurate. It does not properly depict the driveway location nor the patio on the rear. You know, the patio shown as a small one, but it is obviously much larger than that. But one of the questions, so apparently in 2020, there was a renovation done where the front door was moved from what was the old garage to the right side. Do we know, was there a permit and or variance applied for that renovation?
I didn't see any permits for a variance applied for. There was a permit for the deck on the rear in 2020.
What about the deck on the front when the front door was moved?
I didn't see anything in regards to that.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that is, you know, admittedly in the application, there's a 5-foot encroachment into the front setback, which, can we switch to the picture that shows the front of the house, please? So I'm assuming it is the section with the 3 windows is the 5-foot encroachment. That porch and that roof is almost flush. Actually, the porch appears to be flush with the front of the house, and then the roof comes almost to that front edge. So I see that they built into the setback without a permit, obviously. Is that, I mean, that may be a question for the applicant if they're here, but that's why I was asking if there was a permit applied for that. And I guess we can ask them that. So that's all I have for staff. I have some for them. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Nothing else?
Well, I do have one little thing. Is that, carport or garage, whatever you call it there, is that, does that conform?
No, it does not.
I see
It
it's
is,
right on the property line. but
correct,
no
it's over the
walls.
property line into the right-of-way, but it is proposed to be removed.
Right.
Okay. Nobody else got anything?
So this is drawn, I mean, it shows it's got, it sets back, but you're saying it, this drawing is incorrect?
Yeah, this side here, and you can look at that front picture, that deck comes,
Oh, yeah, but I thought you said the front porch, it was out flush with the,
yeah, the front porch, the deck itself appears to be flush with this front part of the house. The roof line looks like it's back about 1.5 feet or so, when I rode by and looked at it. But it is certainly not 5 feet back. If that's what's shown on what you're looking at here now, where the front steps come in, if that's a 5-foot encroachment, there's no way there's 5 feet between that and that addition that was done on where the front door is now. Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, if there is a representative here, can we hear from them? Okay, is your representative here, or are you going to speak on your behalf? If you could just come to the podium, please, and state your name and.
The only thing that I can say is that it's not opposed, and this is really the only opportunity we're gonna have to be able to do just a little bit as far as.
Let me, can you state your name for the record, please, sir?
I'm sorry, it's Reddick Merle Jones.
All right, thank you.
And this is really gonna be the only opportunity that we have to make a slight change to the house. And this little bit of a change is gonna allow us to go ahead and rebuild or build out if you're facing the house, the left side of the house. It looks as if a lot of what has already been done was done, I'm gonna say, a little bit to excess. For example, the water meters are like, and this is from the edge of the street, they're like almost 10 feet from the edge of the street, not the center of the street, the edge of the street. And then where the property line is, that actually works out to, I think, right at 20 feet. And so there's not really that much left as far as available space is concerned. And so that's why we're hoping to be able to do something with that.
So with the front porch addition, was that permitted?
I'm sorry.
The front porch addition, when the garage door or the main entry door was moved from the prior garage to the right side of the house, when that deck and roof was built, was that permitted?
I'm sorry. As far as we're concerned, that was there when we bought the property. We were not.
When did you purchase the property?
Pardon?
When did you purchase the property?
As far as that garage is concerned.
No, when did you buy the house?
When?
Yes, sir.
That would have been about 5 years ago.
So it was about 2022
Somewhere along there, yes.
when, well, that's 2 years ago. That was 2022 is when that renovation was done. So you owned it prior to that, is that correct?
It was there when we bought the property. We cleaned it up. There was a chain link fence that went just to the left of it and around the property. So we've been trying to clean it up since we've been there.
While I'm looking something up, what is you're looking at the property, the rear of it, there's, we're not up here just in the business to grant variances, and we have to look at everything individually. There's a lot of room in the rear of that house, and as 3 of us are builders and an architect, we look for options to not have to grant a variance, to fit things within the rules, because the rules are there for a reason. What are the options of building in the back? I mean, there's that large deck in the back, and, you know, I see plenty of room there that you could get the 2 bedrooms and bathrooms and not encroach at all.
I'm sorry, there's really not much of a backyard left. That, we have a big oak tree in the backyard that pretty much takes up I'll say 90% of the backyard. And so we're working around that. The house is the only thing that, and of course, we wanted to save the tree. The house is the only thing that we've tried to, we've not tried to modify. This would be the only time we've tried to modify the footprint of the house. And this wouldn't give us much. It would just give us a little bit of extra room, which that used to be a drive-through carport, so we understand, and it would make it, it's gonna wind up being a bedroom, and it will make the bedroom just a little bit bigger, is really the only thing we're looking for.
So looking 2019. So you purchased the house in 2019?
2020, 3/10/2020.
Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at county records, it shows somewhere in there, so.
It was just before
Wait,
COVID
2020?
hit.
So looking at county records, it goes back to
Does it show that addition?
6/12/2019.
Look at, so it was there.
Where did you find that it was purchased?
GIS.
That's what I was just looking at, it had transferred in 2019.
Go back to the,
It was, see the very top.
Seven nine 2019.
Okay, you went back further.
Yeah.
That's what he bought, 2019.
It's listed as owner GIS.
But according to the photograph here,
It was about 2022 when that. Sorry, we're just trying to determine definitively when,
I'm sorry.
we're just trying to find out when records indicate when it was purchased and when that renovation was done on that front.
Again, it's just to add a bedroom, and that would just give us a little bit more room in that bedroom.
Now, we were talking about the front, that front encroachment, on that porch, so. While they're looking at that, I will look at some other things. You know, honestly, looking at the back, I do see opportunity back there, and then even looking at the plans, you know, 2 bedrooms and, you know, full bath. You know, I believe, and as a builder, I believe there's room in the back to get that without having to grant the variance. You know, granted, there's some obstacles, the gas meter and the power meter base would have to be relocated, but that's done every day. That's just my opinion. I think there's an alternative option without having to grant the variance, aside from the question of when this front was done, whether it was permitted or not, or done without a variance request. I understand that on the front, there is a large grassy area, but that's a large right-of-way that belongs to the county. That's why your property line is so far back and where the meters are.
Well, it would just be a big help to get that little bit of extra space as far as that bedroom is concerned, because it would really be it would wind up being next to the main bedroom of the house. So
Sure.
that was the reason for this.
And I understand that, and I'm certainly, you know, sympathetic and empathetic with the condition, but, you know, I have to look at all of the things, and that's just, you know, my opinion of how I feel on it. We'll see how our colleagues feel.
Mr. Chairman, what about,
I'm sorry.
being as this is an old survey, if he were to get a new survey done showing property lines and setbacks and all that, and see
Trees.
exactly where this is, and
Trees.
Yeah, and, yeah.
and then defer it, excuse me, defer this until we can get a copy of the survey, of a new survey,
Yeah.
showing exactly what we're looking at, because this is not really telling us
That would certainly help.
everything we need to know.
I would agree with that. We can, you know, have the public comment section, and then
Yeah,
if one of you would like to entertain that motion, we can go that route.
okay.
Okay, anybody have any other questions for?
Yeah, I do. Sir, good morning. How many bedrooms do you presently have in your home?
Two,
Excuse me?
two,
Two. And you're going to add two, so you're going to turn that property into a four-bedroom home?
this,
And an extra, how many baths?
there's two baths.
So the house will become, you're asking for a variance to then, your property will become a four-bedroom, three-bath house on a corner in East Beach. I just want to make sure that I understand that correctly.
Oh, wow.
Okay, thank you.
And I got a question too. What is actually the hardship? Is it hardship because there's no other place on the lot to put
Well,
this addition?
The hardship is the amount of property that really was taken by the county. It doesn't really leave that much space on that,
Are you talking about
that
the
side,
setback?
which was Third Street. And so we were just wanting to add a little bit to that bedroom, and that's really the only thing. And that would be the third bedroom, and the bathroom would be the third bathroom. So,
Yeah,
The hardship is the setback, is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry.
well,
The
it's an,
hardship is the setback, is that what you're saying?
it's an easement. There's a big easement on the left side of the house.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions for applicant?
I ain't seen no easement.
Right-of-ways no along there from that point to the property line.
Just want to see if the front's in the setback.
Let's see what's there. Okay, no other comments for, questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to public comment section. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of, or anyone here to speak against this? Yep, please step to the podium and state your name, please.
My name is Tom McCabe, and I am the president of East Beach Association, and I'm in support of what he wants to do, and I'm also a neighbor. I live across the street. And I have spoken to many, many of our associates that live in our neighborhood, and I haven't found anybody that is not approving it.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, anyone else like to speak for or against? All right, hearing none, we will close the public comment section. Discussion from the board? Any more discussion, or?
Well, like I brought up a second ago, I'd like to see a current survey of this so we can determine if the front is actually
Correct, okay.
in the setbacks or not. I think that will weigh heavily on our decision here.
Okay.
If the applicant is willing to,
You mean the front of the existing house?
yes. If the applicant is willing to step up and get a current survey done showing lot corners as well as the setbacks and the easement on the left side of the house.
Okay, would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
Yes, so I will make a motion that we defer ZV 24-6, 1701 Bruce Drive, in light, so we can hopefully see a current survey done of the whole property,
Specify the next meeting.
and specify and do it for the June meeting.
Okay. Have a,
I'll second that.
have a motion on the floor and a second. Those in favor to defer to the next meeting in lieu of a survey? We got a second. Vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. All right. Thank you. So basically, we deferred to the next meeting and requesting that if you can provide us a more current survey to show specifically, because this survey is 4 years old and has some inaccuracies on it that are clearly visible from visiting the site. County staff can help you with any questions if you can provide us with a current survey for the next meeting on the June agenda.
Now, if you can't get it done by then, I guess we could defer
Certainly, yeah.
it to July,
Yeah,
whenever.
correct. But staff can help you with that, so.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to, all right, get my paper straight here. All right, moving on to second order business, ZV 24-5, 640 Palmetto Street, St. Simons Island variance. Consider request for a variance to Glenn County zoning ordinance section 605 and 701.5 related to the setback requirements. Property is zone one family residential R6 and is located at 640 Palmetto Street, St. Simons Island, parcel 04-09070. Tracy Moreland, Ursa Rural Architects, agent for Timothy Lamich and Helen Kopp, owners. Hear from staff, please.
Good morning, Chuck Flowers, planner for Glenn County Planning and Zoning. This is zoning request, if we'll go, going the wrong way, sorry. Some background information on this zoning request. This site is currently R6, as you said. It is a double frontage lot that fronts Palmetto Street and Atlantic, so there is a 20-foot setback requirement on the front and rear of this lot. The applicant is asking for the variance to reduce those setbacks based on current items that are in the setbacks, that are built into the setbacks. A couple of those items, the deck and the stairs on the Palmetto side and the deck on the Atlantic side was already installed prior to their ownership of the home. The pool and the spa was installed after their ownership. They installed it in 2022. Researching some history to try to find some information, and this is the site here. It's actually, there's a historical lot through here, and it sits between Palmetto and Atlantic. Researching the history to try to find any previous building permits for the items that are in the setback. We were able to find the building permit number that was originally back in September 2003. However, we have no archive of the plans, so the plans aren't available for that building permit. Due to the architecture of the house, those front stairs were more than likely part of the original plan or was built at the time the house was built because of the height of the home. The pool permit was issued in July the 5th of 2022 to the new owner, but there is no record of the rear deck that was added prior to the current owner's ownership. We were able to go back and look at some Google photos from when there was no deck there, and then prior to 2021, I think it was a 2018 picture, there was a deck. They replaced some windows, a double window on the second floor, or on I guess the first floor that's elevated, and they installed French doors in the deck, but there's no record of a permit or application for a permit for that. The applicant, in this request, they plan to build an addition and they want to get an expedited to combine those lots, remove that historical lot line so they can build an addition across the historical lot line. But in order to do that, before they applied for that, they wanted to kind of clean up the zoning and these non-conforming items to allow the usage to stay as is. As I said, this is the location. As you can see, it is double frontage. Right here is Palmetto Street, and this is Atlantic. Directly across from the home is marsh, so there's no building or homes directly across from it on Atlantic. To the east of the lot, these lots from Palmetto to Atlantic are deep lots here. There's some type of retention pond or lake there. So to the east of their property is pretty heavily vegetated right here, and you do have this retention area, and there is a home here. So this is the location. This is the background information that I just kind of went through with you, explaining what permits were issued and what wasn't. Like I said, there's no information that we have that we was able to find to anyone ever applied for the rear deck on Atlantic side. This is a site plan showing you basically what the encroachments are now. The dark shaded area is their addition that they're planning to, get the expedited to remove that line and to install that addition in the future. But currently the items in red are the items that are encroaching into the setbacks. On Atlantic right here, you can see as you descend from the porch, this one section of the lower section of stairs and the small deck where you're coming down the stairs and it turns at an angle. This is the section that is within the with the Palmetto setback. And on the Atlantic side, the house was originally built to the proper setbacks, the 20-foot setback. But when they added the deck is completely within the 20-foot setback on Atlantic side. The pool that was installed by the current owner basically splits the setback line, and they do have a jacuzzi that encroaches even closer to the property line. This was the original approved pool plan. So in 2022, when they submitted their pool plan, they didn't indicate the jacuzzi on the plan, and it does show that the pool was to be placed at this 20-foot setback. And somewhere, they're not really sure, I think the owner thinks that we've been told that I think the pool builder kind of took some liberties and moved it further back here, but the approved plan showed the pool in the 20-foot, meeting the 20-foot setback, but unfortunately it was moved and splits the 20-foot and encroaches closer to the property line. This was a pool as-built that was turned in after the pool was, drawn after the pool was complete, showing that the pool, I modified and put the red lines in here to kind of show where that setback is. On public comment, on the public, this is everyone that's in favor. We didn't receive any that wasn't in favor. And just to kind of show you all the neighbors, this is the property here. So all the neighbors that are adjacent to it on the same side of the street, the green checks, these represent the names here. So all the neighbors are okay with the proposal. There's no opposition. This is a markup to give you a visual of what's actually going on out there in the field. There were some property corners, so based on the site plan and the old survey and then what we found in the field, this is a visual of what's going on. This is the approximate property line. That jacuzzi is a little over 5 foot away from that property line. And as you can see here, the pool splits and the 20-foot setback is almost right against the structure of the home. So this deck that was previously installed by the previous owner, or one of the previous owners, is completely within the 20-foot setback. And this is the Atlantic side. On Palmetto, the angles are a little weird because it's in a cul-de-sac and you got a curved property line. But this was the stake for where the property corner is, and that 20-foot setback based on the survey and based on what we were able to see in the field. The 20-foot setback curves with the cul-de-sac, and this section that's highlighted in red right here, this, like I said, the small platform where the stairs turn and go to the final section of stairs, this is the encroachment in the Atlantic setback on the Atlantic side. This is your possible motions. And Tracy Moreland with Ursary Rule Architects is representing the owners.
Okay. Couple questions. Just, I think I know why, but I just want clarification for the record. Because typically something like this would be handled administratively. I'm assuming just because the pool was done recently is why this wasn't handled administratively, or is that?
Yeah, because technically, since the current owner installed the pool,
Gotcha.
it is a hardship that they, self-imposed, they installed it there. And like I said, there's some, and I'll let Tracy, speak for the owner, but apparently there was some confusion as to why the pool builder took that liberty or why
Right.
they done that. But yes, since it is 2022, they put the pool in themselves, so they
Gotcha.
did this.
That's kind of what I thought. That was the reason it was going through.
Yeah, and I mean, this is all in an effort. They want to, because they want to do the addition and they want to make sure all that's done right. This is to
Sure.
basically clean up the non-conforming items that are there now.
It's unfortunate when a homeowner hires a professional and the professional doesn't follow the rules and puts them in a situation. The other question I would have, and this might be for Mr. Farnsworth or Mr. Carver, when in any inspections, are setbacks actually checked, or is that might be something? We'll let y'all duke it out. Who wants to talk?
Good morning, Dave Carver, building official. The setbacks on that pool were checked by Bobby, one of our newer inspectors at that time. Of course, I was in another department at the time. And I can't account for why he approved it unless he thought the setbacks were 10 feet or 7 feet since the
Gotcha.
house frontage, I guess, is on Palmetto.
Gotcha. Which I guess they were, what was submitted actually showed them at a lesser amount, so I guess I could see
But
that.
Bobby inspected that, because usually the electrical inspector does the pools, John Cox used to. And I think Bobby had only been with the county for a couple months.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was an error on our part.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, I think that's all I got. Gentlemen?
Well, I got a question. I thought that the setbacks were 20 feet on the major, in front of the house, and then 10 foot on when you had double frontage.
Yes, sir, that's on a corner lot. If it's a corner lot, then we do have the ability to adjust those to no more than, or no less than 10 foot. But this is a double frontage, it's not a corner lot. So if it's a double frontage and there's no corner lot, then the setback has to be on both sides, the front and the rear. That's only on corner lots.
I noticed, I think it shows a 10-foot setback on this pool survey.
This here is a 20-foot setback right here. They show a 10 when they submit this plan that was submitted. They show, I can't zoom in here, you may be able to see it on yours, but they show right here that this is a 10-foot setback. And on this one, I believe it references it as a historical setback. It references two different setbacks.
Yeah,
But
that
the
was a 7,
design,
I think.
yeah, but the design was shown with it being on the 20-foot setback.
Yeah, it sounds like,
Yeah.
to Bobby's defense, I can certainly see where, if he would go off of the supposedly accurate submitted survey, so I can see where that.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because we've looked through several different surveys and different site plans and things like that, and some of them will show two different setbacks, and some of that setbacks aren't accurately represented. But, so then we have to refer to the ordinance, and the ordinance is the double frontage with the 20 front and back. And like I said, it does show the 20 here, even though it references it as a, I guess, like a historical setback.
Gotcha.
Does staff have a recommendation?
Due to the location, and let me scroll back here, due to the location with the marsh on the front side, there's not, you know, the marsh on the front side and the lake on the easterly side, all the neighbors are in favor. Staff recommends approval just because of the location of where this lot is and where, like I said, there's not really potential for other homes on the other side of the road on Atlantic, and all the neighbors are supported. And on the Palmetto side, the encroachment is a minor encroachment just for those steps that is just inside the 20-foot setback. So this is one of those peculiar situations to where, you know, staff would recommend approval on this.
Thank you.
I got, you said September of 2003 was the last permit that was issued other than the pool. What was that for?
No, it was 2022. That was for the pool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So the pool kind of hiccup on the county's behalf, so I mean, we can't, being it got overlooked, and the front steps probably been that way since the house was built. Do we have any idea when the wood deck was done?
No, sir, like I said, just basically all we could do was investigate Google Photos. And I believe it was 2018 was, you know, how Google will have they got years separating the different street views. So somewhere, it's not close enough to pinpoint what year it was, but somewhere at approximately, you know, at least 4 years before they purchased the home.
I did the same thing and looked. It was between 2008 and 2014, I believe.
Yeah,
is
it was-
when the deck showed up.
So they purchased the house in 21, so the deck was there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was already there.
yeah.
The only thing that
penalize them
they've
for that.
done
No, it
since
was already
then is
there.
just the pool, so.
Yeah, it was done several years
So-
prior.
I have a question. Could we go back to the picture of showing the property line on Atlantic, please? Yeah. Just want to make sure I understand this before I go further with the question.
Okay.
All the property north of that property line, where the bridge is that Glenn County property?
That is Glenn County right away.
How is it as a taxpayer, I'll divorce myself from the stepping off this position. As a taxpayer, how do we allow somebody to fence off Glenn County property? I think the house is beautiful. I used to ride by there with my bike when it was Glenn County property, that I could sit down on that grass when I wanted to get off my bike and have a drink of water and stuff. I drove by yesterday, looked at it. The place is beautiful. I'm saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe how it's changed. And then it gnawed at me when I went home. And I went back there this morning to recreate my steps, though with a car. I didn't want to ride my bike. And that is really sticking in my craw. And so, especially when I saw this picture. So all county officials seeing a picture like this, and I know it wasn't part of the variance. However, like, it's not part of the variance here, but how does something like that, when everybody sees the picture, it's just allowed to go on?
Well, and that's the thing.
I'm not putting it off on you, I'm just asking.
No, I understand. Well, I can speak pretty good. I was previously the right-of-way coordinator. One of the reasons why it's not included in this actual, you know, this application is because when you're dealing with the right-of-way, that's completely separate than the property, because this is a code violation because it is in the county right-of-way. And there's no permission that could be given or no permit that could be obtained to allow personal property in the right-of-way, you know, like this. So this is really a code issue that staff, currently the right-of-way coordinator and right-of-way management is under the engineering department. So this is something that would be a code issue that would be pursued to enforce removal. It in no way could be involved with the planning and zoning as far as to allow it. But it's definitely a violation, and like I said, this would be up to code enforcement or engineering to pursue enforcement to have that stuff removed that can't be there. There's no way for them to get permission to leave it there.
I guess what I was leading to was that, as it was explained to me and I've understood it, it's kind of like I'm being asked to vote for a forgiveness variance so that an addition to the home can be done legally. And so if that variance passes, then it's all this other stuff that's happened. We've absolved the builder, we've absolved the owner, we've done all this kind of stuff, and we've allowed them to do that. But we've granted them permission to do that when in fact they have taken, that's a whole lot of Glenn County property that I can't walk on anymore. And so I'm just wondering and I understand what you said about the code enforcement, but why that would not be included in this situation. So we're saying, yeah, you can build on your house, we're gonna absolve all this, but, and if nobody reports it as a code violation, then it continues to be like that. And that's just the part, and you explained it, I don't understand why that wasn't part of it when someone looked at that and saying, whoa, look at this, that's all on the property line. That has to be part of it, or code enforcement wasn't brought into it initially.
Yeah, well, it's mainly because in these situations with property versus right-of-way,
Okay,
you have to divorce anything associated with right-of-way compliance from the property because we don't want it to look like somehow it's blending with an approval of something with a right-of-way issue that has nothing to do with the actual property.
Okay.
The property owners are in violation. And yes, I mean, I agree, and I don't know, we would need to check with the county engineer and the county code enforcement manager on how they would want to pursue. Since this isn't a complaint that was given as part of this request, and since we don't want to merge anything to
Understood.
where it looks
All right.
like that, it would
Yes,
be
sir.
something for them to
Okay.
answer for.
I got another question. Everybody remember that picture? Can you go back to the pool permit application showing the pool? Okay, so the pool permit shows the rear of the pool being lined up with the prominent rear corner of the house. So we're blaming the pool contractor on just moving the pool. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that drawing, you should be able to determine, man, that pool's not supposed to be 8 foot beyond the rear corner of the house because that's the way it was drawn. I don't think we can throw a dagger at any one person for the pool being non-compliant, nor is there a spa on the permit. That's not all the county's fault for passing it. I'm thinking homeowners should have noticed that the pool is pushed 8 feet forward, give or take. And, I wouldn't think the pool person would just take it upon himself to push that pool 8 or 10 feet. But
Yes, sir. And like I said, I can allow Tracy to speak for the owner, but that was what was presented to the county as, so I'd have to defer to them to answer what interaction happened with the contractor. But yes, the original, this is the approved pool plan. It doesn't show the jacuzzi, and the placement is in the proper setback.
And if it was 6 or 8 inches beyond, I could see that, but that's a gross push for the pool. That's all I've got.
Okay.
Like I said, Tracy's here to speak for the owner if you have any questions for her.
All right, any other questions for staff? All right, thanks, sir. All right, let me hear from the applicant. Please step to the podium, state your name for the record.
Good morning, Tracy Moreland with Ursha Rural Architects. And I have a little bit of supplemental information that I included in the packet, but I wanted to make sure you have it because I didn't see it up here. One is the original survey, and then actually the pool permit you did have up there. There's 5 copies. Okay. And I think it's, once you have that.
Thank you.
So with this being a double frontage lot, there's been a lot of confusion over the years with 2 previous surveyors providing misinformation. So that first sheet that you have is the survey from 2004, done roughly, I guess, after it was permitted for the construction of the house. And I just highlighted that at that time, Southeastern Land Surveyors showed a 10-foot front setback. And, you know, so at that time with this survey, it appeared that at least that stairway was compliant, even though we know at Ursher Rural Architects that, you know, it should have been 20 feet on the front and the back. And it did show the correct 20 foot on the back. So I just wanted to show you that item because I didn't think you had seen it. And then I know you've already seen this pool permit drawing, which is the second one. And I highlighted where Duran Land Surveyors actually showed the 7-foot setback on the rear and then stated a 7-foot setback on his little note summary for setbacks. And then he also, underneath where that pool is, there's a reference to an older 20-foot setback. So obviously that 7-foot is wrong, but what we think happened with the pool, you know, the owners, Tim and Helen, are here, and, you know, they hired a reputable pool contractor. They hired a land surveyor to do the survey so that they could do the pool. And, you know, this information is very misguiding. So we think that when the pool contractor got out there, yes, they submitted this plan for the approval, but seeing that 7-foot setback, and not that this is the right thing to do, but we think that, okay, he, in the field, moved the pool thinking that he was within the 7-foot setback, which is, you know, obviously not correct. But that's what we think happened, you know. And, you know, and then somewhere down the line, or earlier last year, the clients came to us and wanted to do an addition to support their growing family. And that's when we started working on an addition, the idea for an addition. And so at that time, I had called for them to get us they had sent me a survey, but it didn't have the pool on it. So I said, let's get an updated survey with the pool on it. And when we got that survey, it didn't have any setbacks. So the land surveyor had stripped all the setbacks off of it and sent us the pool survey, as it is now with that spa where it is and everything. And then sometime later, that's when we at Ursher Rural discovered, okay, well, this is a double frontage lot, and we need a 20-foot setback front and back. And so, you know, we got into the details of all of that and decided, well, we need to look at applying for a variance and see if we can, you know, get these other items resolved so that we can move forward with something that is within the setbacks, you know, the new addition. You know, when they bought the home in 2021, I believe it was, they, you know, the rear deck was there. It was a big selling point for the house. You know, of course, they had no idea any of this was over the setback until we got the new survey and started, you know, informing them on you know, what the circumstances are. Let's see. I think besides that, you know, all of the other details that we know. You know, but like I said, they've got a growing family, they've got a 3-bedroom house, they need this addition, you know, to be able to get the permit, we need to get the setback issues resolved, if possible.
So the only proposed addition is just what we're showing here, nothing which is in full compliance within setbacks, correct?
Correct,
No
that
other
dark
additions.
shaded area is a bedroom, bathroom, and closet area. It's basically, you know, a new master suite on the main level of the house, and then there's the existing 3 bedrooms are up on the second level of the house. And the whole house is built up, you know, the flood elevation is AE8, I believe, you know, it's all garage down below, and then, you know, it's a fully raised up home, and
So yeah, if it weren't for the other encroachments, you wouldn't even be here. It's kind of-
Exactly, right.
So the center property line, has that process started?
We didn't
or-
start that process, but we fully expect to, if the variance was to be approved, we would, the next step would be to get a surveyor and submit for the expedited subdivision to join those lots.
Okay.
And then submit for a building permit after the expedited
Okay.
subdivision.
For the most part of it, I mean, we kind of, a lot of this stuff happened prior to, yeah, there was a pool, but they hired a reputable contractor. That would be a condition, if approved, a condition I would want to see is that property line, that go away. That be a
Absolutely.
condition of this if it gets approved. Reason being, because I don't want to be in 5 years or 10 years when they sell the property, we're right back here again because somebody's bought a property that, that half of it, is across the property line, so I don't want to get in that situation down the road, so.
Right.
Question, I don't know who can answer this, but who is Tim Cheek that approved this pool survey?
That's actually, he was previously with Joint Water and Sewer, they have to review them as well, and they put their stamp on it. It's not county affiliated.
Okay, that was, okay.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, just for, they couldn't get a permit unless they did combine the two lots. I'm thinking, it would be, so
I
that
think
would
that
be,
is the
that
case.
that would be, that would,
Right, and I think, ultimately, and, staff or Mr. Carver may be able to comment better, but I believe that is the due process, that the permit wouldn't be issued unless that was corrected, but it's just one of those, CYA, make sure it does happen would be my only thing.
That's correct as far as I understand it as well.
I thought that was the case, but just want to make sure.
Yeah. Couple other things I just would like to point out. That this lot is peculiar because it is a double frontage lot and we don't see those very often. So I think that's kind of a big reason of why some of those older surveys that you see are very misleading to, to the owner. And I wanted to say that Atlantic Street, the back, is a 60-foot right-of-way. So I guess kind of the nice thing about that, it is a larger right-of-way than the typical. Typically, you've got 50-foot right-of-way and 40-foot right-of-ways in Glen Haven. And of course, we've got the marsh on the other side, so no home on the other side. And I think, no, I just wanted to state that.
Any other questions?
Excuse me, I have one. 632 Palmetto. Is that considered a double lot also?
double frontage.
Double frontage, excuse me. Yeah.
I would say it is, but there's a lake on the back of all of those, or a retention pond, so it's different in that they could never expand their house and would
To the
never.
rear.
We would never be looking at a double frontage, but technically, yes, it is a double
Is
frontage.
that, Mr. Flowers right behind you, is that?
I was just gonna look, you meant the 632 is the ones with
Yes.
the lakes? Yes, those
Yeah.
are double frontage lots.
It
And
is?
That's, yes, and that's apparently that lake or pond is a private pond. So that's part of their property.
Okay.
Okay.
So is that on Palmetto, is that a 20-foot setback?
Yes. 20
Okay.
foot, all those those additional lots there, you can see further down where it splits, and those aren't double frontage, but all those others are 20 foot front and back.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for applicant? Comment?
The only thing that sticks out to me is, it looks like to me that the spa that was not included in the original pool application, everybody must have known that it was, that when they added the spa, that it was beyond the setback, because the edge of the pool is already on the setback. But I guess that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I'm not sure at what point in the process the spa was added.
Yeah, I agree. It was, if anything, it should have been added on the end and that.
Or the back.
I believe it was done at the same time that the pool was built, right? Yeah, it was put in at the same time the pool was put in.
If an event that was a 7-foot setback is presented on the approved plan, everything will be within the setback. So, I mean, it looks to me like the surveyor needs his hand slapped, or, or fined or something, me as a builder, I think I would know a 7-foot setback would not apply. But when you're looking at it, I mean, as a homeowner, we got room, we can scoot it a little bit, so, I mean, I can see where the hiccup could come into play. And the front steps don't bother me, that was approved on the front side, the back porch, somebody snuck it in and it didn't, and it's not fair to the new owners to penalize them for something they, assumed was correct.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the public comment sections. Anybody here to speak in favor of this applicant? Anyone here to speak against this applicant? All right. Hearing none, we will close the public comment section. Gentlemen, discussion? Or if someone would like to entertain a motion if there's no discussion?
I just need to say it after we go through all this information, and I understood what the gentleman explained to me. However, so as I look at that picture, and I think I heard it correctly, that the spa was never permitted. And so regardless of who wants to point fingers at whomever, the bottom line is that we'll slip this one by, and then, obviously, based on my historical experience of it and enjoying that part of Atlantic being such a beautiful drive down there, bike or car, whatever, and that surrounding area, you don't have to say it again, but I will, just for the last time. I take great affront to that fence being out there. So as far as I'm concerned, it's I'm being asked to vote for a forgiveness variance when, in fact, I look at this place and no sweat off anybody's brow to do something against in a non-permitted situation, and then to usurp, gosh, I can't even imagine how much property that is that was usurped from Glynn County. So I'll let that rest. Those are my two issues.
Okay. If you'd like to respond, I'll let you step back up here and respond.
Regarding the fence,
Yes.
we absolutely are prepared to move that back to the property line. That was done, from what I was told, by the fence company that they had hired. And, again, until the new survey was put out, they didn't realize it was over the setback, or over the property line. But we absolutely are willing to move that to the property line where it should be.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got any more discussion? Gentlemen, I'd like to entertain a motion if.
I'm going to move to approve ZV 24-5 as presented.
I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Gotta add the fence.
Yeah.
Well, the fence is coded, that's nothing to do with us. The fence is gonna be right away.
Fence, I guess technically is a completely different department. Ms. Leaf, if you want to, because I'm dealing with almost exact similar situation with something I'm developing, and it's their property stops at their property line. Beyond that is a different part. It's not really in our purview. Our purview is the encroachments up to the property line. Anything beyond the property line, as Mr. Flowers stated, that's right away code enforcement. That's not this board's purview. So I agree. I think, personal opinion, I agree with Mr. Minutelli. But again, that's not this board's purview, is my opinion on that.
Okay.
What about the condition you mentioned about in terms of the property? It's two properties now?
It's
and
two now, but
there's
I
something-
think we established that in order for the permit to even be issued, that property line has to go away anyway. It's not, permit wouldn't even be issued with it like that.
So should that be a condition?
Because they can't get a permit unless they combine them.
Okay.
All right, so,
I didn't mean to cut
oh,
Stephanie
no,
off. I
no.
know she was coming up.
Did, you have a comment, Mr. Carver?
Yeah, I won't approve the permit for the addition to the fence.
Okay,
About that.
all right, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so, back up, so we have a motion on the floor to approve ZV 24-5 as presented. Have a second. All those in favor? Okay. You got your variance. Thank you all very much. Any other new business? All right. Thank you everyone for coming. Meeting is adjourned.